Welcome to EPG Pathsala. I am Dr. S. Jivanandam, teaching history in the Department of History from Sikkim University. Today, we are going to discuss about Eurasian women as a part of the module of Women and History and the paper Women Studies subject. In generally, India and either in Indian subcontinent is considered as very complex social phenomena. It has many social categories. If you in such cases, India experienced different social and cultural process throughout the periods. For example, if you see the migration of different section of the people from different races from different time made such a huge impact on the Indian society. For example, the intervention of the Greek introduced the great Gandhara tradition in the Indian history. Like that, in the later phases, the intervention of the Aryans, the intervention of the Mughals, the interventions of the English in the Indian subcontinent made and give a great impact on the Indian subcontinent. In that sense, if you see in the new ages, especially in the post-industrial era, when with the introduction of the industrialization, the colonial intervention happened throughout many countries, especially it influenced much in Indian subcontinent. In the 17th century, French, they followed by English, then later and other people they started to settle in the Indian subcontinent. Initially they came for the commercial purpose, later their political ambitions and the European situations led to the formation of new political agenda in the Indian subcontinent that leads them to make different political strategies that leads to the different socio-cultural composition in the Indian subcontinent, especially that introduced a new social category that is called Eurasian in the Indian subcontinent. Eurasian is one of the important social category which is not much discussed in any other historical narratives in the recorded history because of the new category had a limited resources and also the exposure also in the limited in its size. With this module, we are going to see who are Eurasians, how the term was used in Indian context, how it is going to explain in the further years. For example, how the post-colonial period, especially after independence, how the constitution addressing Eurasian in its new life. So this model could explain all this detail in the further way. The process of migration and the expansion of territory was a common phenomena in world history. The early civilizations such as Egyptians, Sumerians extended their power over the new land. The expansion was mainly happened due to its physical power of empire. The age of discovery in the 15th century made Europe in the dominant position. To extend their political boundaries, during the High Middle Age, the European states such as England, France, Spain, and Dutch started to expand their power over the new land. The scientific inventions helped the naval expeditions of Europe and they brought many new settlements under their control. The process of extension was popularly known as colonization. The developments created a new space for the old and new world to interact with each other about their cultural differences. An intimate social interaction between the two could make many changes in the world. In a cultural ground, the colonization process became a rationale for the creation of new community called Eurasian. The Eurasian community was widely spread in different parts of Asian continent, especially in India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Cambodia, etc. The term Eurasian is used to refer the mixed groups of people who have the ancestry of Europe and Asia. It was a new social category which existed due to extensive colonialism. The word Eurasian was first used in 19th century to point out Anglo-Indian of mixed British and Indian descent. In 1960s, an anthropological literature started to use the term extensively. The Stacula, the editor of the Calcutta Englishman, pointed out that Marquess of Hastings was the person who invented the word Eurasian. Edgar Thurston, the colonial ethnographer, mentioned Eurasian as a modern name for persons of mixed European and Indian. According to him, that the Eurasians are classified to those who stand second in the list of Europeans and those born in any part of India and who are the pedigree of European descendants, being born of father European and mother East Indian, and notwithstanding those who can prove themselves as really good Indian descendants, such as mother and father of the same sex, therefore as called Eurasians. The word Eurasian is a very complex phenomena because we have already discussed that it had overlap between geopolitical contexts such as like Russians. In Indian context, the word Eurasian was used especially for our study. The word we are using like the persons one who father or either father or mother belongs to the lineage of European and another one belongs to the Indian lineage. But if you see the in Indian context, Eurasian, though they weren't considered as a separate category, but they had a kind of a upper hand within the different section of the Indian social order. The Europeans giving much importance to the Eurasians compared than any other indigenous or otherwise native people of the new land. In general, the word Eurasians or East Indians refers to the offsprings of English, that means Indo-Britons, French, Indo-French, Portuguese, Luso-Indian, and Dutch, Indo-Dutch, with native women. The word is often confused with the geocultural aspects. Usually, the word Eurasians also extended to the Central Asian heritage. The word Eurasia is commonly associated with the lands of Asia and Europe. It is the combined continental landmass of Europe and Asia. The land Eurasia physically covered around 36.2% of the total land area of the earth. The known Russian geographer V. Lamansky used the word Eurasia, and in 1892 that Greater Russia represented a continent in itself. However, Russian Eurasians are not concerned with the racial phenomena but with the geopolitical or cultural problem. Eurasians in India. In India, the word Eurasian was used in ethnic sense. Initially, the Eurasians were called as East Indians as Balfour. It referred all the descendants of Europeans and native mothers. In addition, Eurasians were denoted by different names such as Chattikar, Franki, that means Frank, and Chechi. The word Chattikar is derived from the word chitta, that means trousers, and kar, a person one who wear it. All these words carried the derogatory meaning. The caste stratified Indian society placed the new community in a secondary level, and it treated Eurasian as half caste. These derogatory words showed the lower status of Eurasian in the Indian society. During the census process in India, Eurasian population was kept under mixed races. In later years, Eurasian community was named as Anglo-Indian to avoid the pejorative usages. In modern days, the word Anglo-Indian became a predominant. The Constitution of India authorized the term and defined Anglo-Indian in the following words. An Anglo-Indian means a person whose father or any of whose other male progenitors in the male line is or was of Eurasian descent, but who is domiciled within the territory of India and is or was born within such a territory of parents habitually resident therein and not established there for temporary purpose only. The most of the European colonies are established in the port cities in India, especially Madras, modern Chennai, Calcutta, modern Kolkata, Bombay, modern Mumbai, Goa and Pondicherry, modern Puducherry became the epicenter of colonial activities. Eurasians were largely lived in these colonial towns, especially in the city of Madras. According to the census report of 1891, nearly one half of Eurasians were found in Madras, and that too settled in Veperi, a suburb in Madras city. As per the census report of British India 1871, the total population of Europeans was 1,08,402, which consisted Eurasians itself 63,685, Indo-Portuguese 30,272 and others 14,445. As per the census report of 1891, nearly 26,643 Eurasians were existed in Madras Presidency and only one Eurasian in every 337 of the population of Madras Presidency. The coastal town of Malabar became the second largest town next to Madras city that carried the huge population of Eurasian. All this development happened due to the earliest Portuguese settlement over the west coast by the famous Portuguese navigator Vasco da Gama. Eurasian marriages. The settlement of Europeans in the alien lands made a significant impact in the field of society and culture. During the extensive colonial expansion, Europeans could not bring their families in the new settlements or new land. In general, women were restricted to travel with the male counterpart. An insufficiency of women in the new land forced the colonizers to find out a way. Europeans found difficulty in securing European brides. Afonso de Albuquerque, the governor of Portuguese India in between 1509 to 1515, faced the problems of marriage of their members from the community. He took the step of promoting intermarriages of Portuguese soldiers and artisans with the native Hindu and Muslim women. Albuquerque concerned about the choice of women from the daughters of the principal man of the land. The Portuguese encouraged marrying the native women, particularly of women from Brahmin and Muslim families, for their better breeding. They also believed that these marriages could help to sustain Christianity in Indian subcontinent. According to John A. Ham, a rapidly increased the number of such marriages and created a new caste of mixed ancestry which identified itself politically, culturally and linguistically with the Portuguese. Charles Dalton referred the marriage between Marquis Dupleix, the able governor of the French East India Company, and native women. He pointed out the native woman was talented and her knowledge of the Indian character and language was of great assistance to her husband. The Marquis Dupleix to win over the culturally different place like Indian subcontinent. There were nearly 450 men married native women in the Goa region. Dom Manuel, Portuguese diplomat, mentioned the marriages of Portuguese men to native women with certain reservation. The Portuguese king granted each couple from mixed marriage with a dowry in money. Albuquerque allotted lands, houses, and cattle to those who married native women. In 1672, Langer Baronet, the governor of Madras and Bengal, strictly prohibited the officials and workers of the English East India Company to avoid any relationship with native women. However, the marriages between natives and Europeans gradually increased. The records of Madras churches established the fact of significant increase of the number of marriages between native women and Europeans in the 17th century. The Eurasian surnames could explain that the increase of the numbers such as Gomes, D'Souza, Gonzalez, Rosaria, Gabriel, Da Cruz, Da Costa, Da Silva, Da Sonsa, Fernandez, Fanonza, Lazaro, Henrique, Xavier, Mentanzo, Rodzik, Sadana, Almeida, Hedlick, Vanspal, Jasmine, Augustine, Brizan, Cornell, Lagrange, Lavoc, Pascal, Divine, Albert, Ryan, McCartis, McPherson, Harris, Johnson, Smith, etc. were visible signs of growth of Eurasian in India. The caste-ridden Indian society accommodate the new social category such as Eurasian. The women, one who live with Europeans, were not excommunicate. Europeans heavily started to concentrate their settlements in the Indian subcontinent. That's what we have discussed. That's what history explained to us. The settlements, especially in the lower ranks, needed many differences or giving much influences in the Indian soil. For example, the lower chunks, the lower level of the laborers or lower level of the European employee or soldiers, they need women for their day-to-day activities or otherwise sexual needs. That's why the Europeans had a problem to settle this kind of issues. Initially, the Portuguese, aware of the circumstances, and allowed their employees to marry to the native women. However, they are giving much preference to the elite section, or otherwise we could call as the upper caste in the society, like Brahmins and economically well settled Muslims. They preferred as the wife or even a concubine. That leads to the different social category of Eurasians in the Indian soil. Later, that leads to the different kind of a social problems such as the employment in issue and all the things. In the following slides, we are going to see how the occupation or otherwise employment of the Eurasians happened in the Indian subcontinent. An occupation of Eurasian. The Eurasian families inherited the complex forms of social and cultural heritage that often shaped their everyday life. Starkwer mentioned that the Eurasians were an orderly and intelligent people, and further he added that they were devoid both mental and personal energy. As per the census report of 1901, nearly 98% of the men of Eurasians and significant amount of women were able to read and write. Eurasians prefer to learn English rather than any vernacular languages in India. With regarding the elementary education, Eurasians were advanced than any other class of community in colonial India. Europeans gave much attention to education of Eurasian children. For example, Reverend Father Christian William Garrick and others such as Catist established a school for Eurasian children in 1771 at Vellu. Eurasians received the rights and privileges of what Europeans exercised. The government of British India decided to appoint in Eurasians as officials in India. Some Eurasians were received the title such as knighthood. And also Eurasians gave much attention to education to their children. Like that, Eurasians in the colonial period, they exercised and experienced the new social and cultural setup in the new land. These explain that the Eurasians were much concerns about their future, especially they concerns about their children's education and the employment opportunity of their children's, and they give much attention to other socio and cultural aspects of their livelihood. The entire discussion explained us that Eurasians had a kind of a little advantages than any indigenous society. Eurasians gave much importance to educations and other employment opportunity. Their concern to establish the educational institutions in different parts of the Indian subcontinent. In the larger sense, the colonial cities, especially the port cities, were favorable for the Eurasians, especially Madras, Kolkata, and also Mumbai played a vital role. If you see the number of Europeans who established schools for Eurasians high in number in these places. Later, this development leads to the another kind of a employment issue, and also that leads to the different social formations. There were significant amount of evidences suggest that the exploitation of Eurasian women. The census report 1901 mentioned that the existence of 10 prostitutes among Eurasians. In general, Eurasian women were purchased and sent to different places for prostitution. John Hayham stated that the purchase of Indo-Portuguese women from Pondicherry, and it stated that the purchased women sent to Malagasy Island for prostitution. It shows that the Eurasian women, the body of the Eurasian women were considered as one of the commodity, and they were exploited and they were sold for the commercial purposes. In letter which was founded in the Asiatic Journal stated that the Eurasians were wonderfully docile to the affections and arrays of the sex. Nothing can be more unearning than the eternal simper that plays on their place on their lips, and their love of finery and bubbles is. We are pursued from long observations and constitutional. To conclude, Eurasians in a new social category in the Indian society, they were considered one of the important community was existed due to the extensive colonization of Europe over Asia and other continents. The administrative needs of Europe forced them to recruit more number of Europeans in the new Indian soil. And however, the colonizer could not allow the members to bring their families, especially the lower level officers whom the number was high in number. The Europeans needed female partners in the new land. Therefore, the colonial authority allowed its members to marry native women with certain reservations. The caste-ridden Indian society considered Eurasians as a of caste. However, it acknowledged the women who lived with the Europeans. Europeans comparatively provided a much place to Eurasians in employment and educational opportunities. The entire process much influenced the lives of the native women. The customs looks women as commodity that could satisfy the needs of the patriarchal world. Eurasian is a new social category, and it's very interesting phenomena in the Indian history, especially modern history of India. The administrative needs forced the Europeans started to settle in the different parts of the colonial lands that leads to the different social formations, especially that what we have discussed is that the requirement of a woman as a kind of a sexual objective for the European soldiers that leads to the Europeans to allow their soldiers to get married to the local women, local in the sense the native women, to get into marry, and they had their choice might be based on their caste, and also their choice might be based on their economical status. That's why our sources explain that they are preferring Brahmin, the upper caste of the family society, and also the elite Muslim women. Later, these things led to the new section, and it brought to the new category called Eurasians in the Indian subcontinent. And Europeans were much concerned about these Eurasians, and they are establishing many new exclusive institutions like educational institutions in different parts of the colonial port cities. That leads to the Europeans to allow the Eurasians to get into educations, and Eurasians get the higher opportunity than any other sectors like indigenous people in India. Later, this category was acknowledged by the Constitution of India, and it's named as Anglo-Indian. Thank you.